Bienvenidos and welcome to all of Santa's Little Helpers. Today we're going to be looking at how to make a ugly elf hat. And this is going to go in line with the ugly Christmas sweater I recently made, as well as the scarf tutorial I did. So you can consider this part 3 if you want to have a whole Christmas ensemble. And let's go ahead and get started. So I'm using my same model with the ugly sweater and scarf, and I added some elf ears, and I'm going to start by adding a procedural group. And what that does is going to give you a clump of hair, if you're not familiar with what that procedural group looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and lower the height, and I'm going to drop the conformity down to 0. From there, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the bottom over the top, so you're kind of inverting the hair, because generally hair would flow down, and we want it to flow up to make the shape of a hat. So I'm going to kind of just round it out as best I can. I do have the mirror tool on so I can make everything pretty even, and just going to kind of make a point at the top, and everything else is going to be kind of rounded. And again, for my purposes, I'm going to make an ugly elf hat, but you could make a knit cap or a Santa hat or a nightcap, or whatever you'd like. So I'm going to increase the interval all the way up and the number of hairs all the way up as well, and that's going to round it all out, fill it in. And I'm going to switch the texture to match my scarf. You could of course do a different texture if you want, but that's all up to you. I just want it to match my scarf. So messing with the width a little bit just to make it all fill in, make sure there's no gaps. And now that I'm happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and rename it to knit cap so I don't confuse it with my other items. And after I've got that, I'm going to create a freehand group, and this is going to be used to make the brim of our hat. And so we want to kind of make a wider circle than our top part of the cap. So same thing, mirror tools on, just going to stretch everything out to be wider than the cap, but not too much taller than the cap. And that's because I'm going to kind of draw the hair right in the middle of this whole mesh as like a big circle to cover anywhere that there's collision with the hat and the hair. Obviously we want to try and hide that and cover it up. So you could do this with the mirror tool like that. I'm going to just go with one big loop all the way around, starting at the back. And just like with the scarf tutorial, I kind of put all the ugly stuff toward the back because it's going to be less visible than on the front or the sides. And of course, mess with the thickness and the width to get the brim size you want. So now that I have the brim all wonky looking, it's pretty much in the place I want it. I am going to tweak it just so it's a little closer. And like I said, the main idea is really just to hide where the collision is from the cap to the hair. And if you wanted to make it straight and beautiful, you certainly could, but I'm going for an ugly hat to match my ugly sweater. So I'm going to tuck it all in, as I said, just to kind of cover where the collision is, but I'm still going to keep it all wobbly, wonky looking. And any place that it's still visible, I'm just going to pull it down or up to hide those ugly bits. Pull that one down just a little more, and pull it down in the back. And as you're working on the back, if you want to make it, connect a little better, or you want to draw another hair to hide the ugliness back there, you certainly can. You could also make your hair straight and flat like we did with the scarf tutorial, and that would kind of make it meet a little better at the back there. But for my purposes, I really want an ugly, wonky looking hat, like it was knitted by grandma and then shoved in a bag and you opened it on Christmas morning, something like that. So bringing it a little tighter, because you do want it to look kind of snug, but I kind of want mine to be a little big and floppy, like, grandma didn't get your measurements ahead of time, so it's a little big, but it still looks good. So there you go, you got a little onion head, not too bad. Make it a little more pointy, I think. So there we go, looking more like an elf hat, less like an onion. And again, I see some little gaps at the top, so just kind of fill those in so no one's going to see them. And I think we're looking pretty good. So I'm going to rename this one so I don't mess it up. That's going to be the knit brim. Again, just so I don't confuse it with the other accessories and hair that I have going on. And let's go ahead and look at the texture here for that. So as I said before, I'm matching the scarf, so anything I do to this is going to happen to the scarf. And I'm just importing that same knit pattern I use on my ugly Christmas sweater. And that's really all I did, as I just copied that in over the hair texture. If you want to make a different color brim, obviously you can. You can separate it out. I wanted everything to match for this one, so let's see how it looks in action. Looking good. And so that kind of brings all three tutorials together. So we've got the ugly sweater, the scarf, and the knit hat. And it all looks pretty good. If you want to add some bones to the knit hat, you can. It depends on your skill level. I don't want any motion in my hat, but if you're going to do maybe a Santa hat or like a nightcap, you might want to add some bones in there. I'm not going to do that. If you want to add like a little puffball on the top, then you just put a little circle up there, and you can tweak with the thickness and the width and the position, kind of get it to where you want it. And again, I want mine to be really ugly. If you don't, please make yours, rounder, smaller puffball, more cylindrical, etc. So just mess with it. But I want a really ugly hat. I don't even think I want a puffball, and I just want it's just a super ugly elf hat. But that's what it would look like if you kept the puffball on. Again, totally up to you what you want to do with your ugly hat. I hope these tutorials have been good for you, helpful in some fashion. If so, please give it a like. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to subscribe, see more shenanigans, please do. And hope you all enjoy your holidays, and I will catch you in the next video. See ya!